You're now live with Mary on YouTube. I just wanted to welcome you. And here we are at the Earth Tones Gallery and Center for Healing. And if you will, this is our Mount Method class for this morning. And it is the 11th of April. And let's just get going. So the first thing we want to do is really just kind of feel where we're at today. We're going to do a little bit of a lying rest assess. So as you get on your mat, just agree that it's a good time to get into your body senses. And when we say the body senses, this is more of a mindful awareness of where your body really feels like it is this morning. And rather than using touch or feel, the sense of sight, we're going to use the sense of awareness inside the body. So let's go lying down, and hopefully you can be comfortable right where you are. And as you lay down, feel that sense of the earth supporting you. Take a moment to focus your breath, nice and slow, letting it go. And close your eyes while you become aware of the masses and spaces of your body. And the space that's most obvious usually is behind the knees, the low back, and in the neck. So let's just feel where they are aligned and just make that final breath adjustment to feel, sense. And then when we exhale, we might feel a little more of those masses, the weight of the hips, the legs, the arms, and the chest. And don't forget that head, which is just resting. So in this type of a rest assess, we can just analyze and or be aware of where our body is feeling any propensity of such stress. If it's living in your body, there are 4 common areas and imbalances that we might feel. So let's check in with our thoracic spine, our mid-chest area. And typically, if we're in an ideal stressless situation, we would feel that that chest is balanced and the weight is resting below the shoulder blade. And we would feel that the curve of the low back, the lumbar spine, allows the diaphragm a full breath, but is this succinct curve right towards the low back, towards the sacrum. And we would feel that the pelvis is evenly weighted right to left and resting more on the containment of the butt cheeks, right side to side. That permits the back of the legs to lay slightly against the floor and the heels to turn up in a V shape. But truly more commonly than that, because of our work, our compression, and even our fitness performance regime, we may feel that such stress differently. Commonly, we might feel like we're resting instead on the shoulder blades rather than the lower. So just go in and see if that is something you're feeling today. And if you are, just make a mental note of it. We can also feel that the shoulders are resting slightly off up onto the floor near our ears. And let's just check in, because in a moving assessment, side to side, the head rolling, we can feel like that limits our range of motion. So just move slowly. Notice that 3 or 4 rockings. If you hear a click, snap, or even a crackle in your neck, that is a sign that stuck stress is living in that upper shoulder girdle and preventing the communication to your entire core. But not to worry, we'll take a deep breath in and travel down and see where that diaphragm space is actually indicating. Commonly, if there's a tightness in our rooted, we might feel that lumbar spine is an excessive curve that whops right all up to, say, our bra line or our heart monitor line. Well, if that's the case, just note it, and that allows us to really reflect in our practice today on what changes we might be able to get through the practice. Travel your awareness down, and this is my area of really analysis. I can feel whether the center bone of the body is really holding me up and my legs are floating out or stiff inward. So just allow yourself to feel whether you are resting on that center bone or really high into the sacrum rather than on the butt cheeks. Finally, we can allow ourselves to look at our autopilot, because if there is an eruption of stress, we would be registering kind of an asymmetry of the body. And so we'll divide the body between left and right, from eyeball to ankle, and just think about whether you have a sense of right or left being longer, heavier, or even lifted up off the floor completely. That's a sign that you're having a disruption and your body's having difficulty becoming aware of where it is in space. And with that, we're going to improve our efficiency through the practice of that. So with a breath, let's bend the knees, roll to the side very gently, and begin just a very gentle rocking today on top of the mount roller. So if you'll join me, taking this lovely roller, lay it vertically, simply sit longitudinally on the roller. And in that process, we want to make sure that we just gently come down, putting pressure on the spine, which actually feels pretty good. Take a breath, feel yourself really safe, arms resting to the side. You can always put a prop on either side. Now, as you go side to side, that feeling of letting go is kind of equal from hips to ribs to head. And its gentle rocking really kind of allows the spine to adjust just on the lateral side. Let the shoulders come down, the ribs, the hips, in equal timing. Allow the head to follow. Get used to that pressure of this roller right behind us. It's nice and safe. And just remember, you can do this pretty much any time during the day, but it's nice to have that roller and just get on top of it for about 10 minutes, not really any more than that. And come back to center. We know we're totally on it by making sure the head is secure. And we're going to bring the hands instead of the floor onto our belly. And let's get in contact with the breath, exhaling. As you inhale, you might feel an expansion into the plane of the body that goes from front to back. So try to feel that expansion moving towards the roller and towards the sky, towards your hand. And similarly, as you exhale, it compresses towards that center line. Now we breathe three-dimensionally, and we often don't think about it. So bring our ribs and our hands kind of adhere to each other. We'll notice that expansive side-to-side breath. So breathing in and again, move, tiny, gently compress, kind of like a sponge feels when it squeezes for the center. And just be aware of the way the body moves in the lateral side-to-side plane. Keep your feet light, your body supportive on the roller. And let's do the last of the 3 deep breaths. So if we're moving in all the planes, top to bottom of our body, feeling that we're breathing north and feeling the breath also goes south, helps our vertebrae register those spaces in between, and then gently come back down. That secures our awareness of 3 dimensions of breath. Let's do a slow process breathing in. And I'd like you to feel that breath is nice and empty. And right there, near the point where your pubic bone and your abdominal muscles rest, both hands, we're going to feel that expansive breath in this entirety. So slow, aware breath, sides, front, back, up, down. And as you let that breath in, let's make a sound. Let's do ha like you're blowing against a mirror. Again, 3 deep breath. We can make another sound that contacts that rooted core. And let's so make that very powerful shush breath. Feel that shh come in as you feel the gripping, if you will, of tissue as it helps express the breath. Keep your feet fairly light in the center. Take another 3 deep breaths. And pick another sound, such as he. Again, all 3 of those help us compress and be aware of our rooted core, contacting extra muscles to really empty the breath, also secure our center. Take another deep breath in, relax the spine, release your side. And we're just going to just thank our body for giving that moment of breath. As you adjust your awareness into your pelvis, you might notice that the curve of the back is still a little bit. So let's feel what it's like to go into a tuck. Hands go maybe between the rib cage with the thumb and right there at the pinky. just kind of crease that pubic bone towards your navel, tilting it just a little bit. We know this is imprint or tuck, and the body just kind of forms a nice secure connection to that. Inhale, and then just release it out. You're just going to let the sacrum balance on top of the roller and muscles release down. And again, be very pretty much level there. Take a deep breath in, feeling that 3D breath, feeling the breath anywhere. And then as you exhale, grease again, you're going to feel that tuck. And it's not a fight. It's not a pull. It's just an allowing of that crease of the abdominal muscles to pull into a supported position. Take another breath. And then just release out. We also have the ability to tilt, which is a little more active. And the action comes from our lower heels radiating down. Take a deep breath and hold there. Come back to neutral and go back into the tuck. And just notice your body has that ability to do this without the use or struggle with muscle squeezing or firing. And we can just come into a nice, even alignment with that tilt and tuck, arranging our pelvis in a different way on top of the roller, and then coming to neutral. And that's going to be more important as we go into some of the realignment principles that front method does. What we call this series is the rebalance series. And it's one of the first principles that we want to do to be connected to our awareness, our body, and our body senses. So we're going to come off the roller by straightening the leg, rolling to the side, and just move the roller out from underneath you. And this reconnect series should allow us to get a better sense of body. So let's put the hands back to the sides, rest the vertebrae back down to the floor. And I'm just going to come on up and ask you to just reflect on that sense of rebalance. Remember when we began, we used our common sense of awareness and removed our common sense of touch and sight. So making that your friend today, let's feel whether you have more contact with that lower base of the thoracic spine. In essence, we're going to feel like we are more in contact with the mass of our rib cage. And if it's improved, just note that and just celebrate it. You might also notice that the shoulders are gently rolled off the floor a little more, and that also, if you pull your neck side to side, there may be enhanced range of motion or less maneuver or certain ways, or even kind of that feeling of popping. Relaxing your lower body, travel down towards the arch of your spine, where inserting to the sacrum, and notice if that's a gentler curve, not massive. And in fact, it begins right about where the belly button exists straight down and moves to the sacrum. If you have done that, that is access to much more that centeredness of the diaphragm and allows it to be more efficient as you breathe through the day. Finally, we can notice in the pelvic girdle whether some of the weight has shifted towards the butt cheeks and moved off that center bone line. You may in fact feel some of the back of the legs more in contact with the floor. So if any of those have improved, we are now certainly getting more into the spaces of our body. So with one last moment, let's draw that halfway line between right and left and notice if the weight or length of the body seems to be a little bit more harmonious and equitable. And if so, that reconnect series that we did with the rebalance on the roller has helped us improve our autopilot efficiency and will help us continue today. Bend your knees, let's roll to the side. And I also want to allow yourself to really understand that the benefits of the melt method are enhanced through steady practice. And it's a short practice if you need it. You can do it through getting on the roller for a few minutes, up to an hour. You can get it through the hand and foot techniques with just the use of the balls that are both small, large, firm, and soft. And you can do this through a contact of combining it with before or after your regular performance activities. So the 4 hours of the melt method help us really create that fluid exchange in our connective tissue, which will enhance all our activity. So stay with me. You'll learn more about the 4 hours in our next segment, and you'll also be able to get a little more practice with the hand and foot technique. I want to thank you for joining me on the Sunday morning melt class, and Remember, allow yourself plenty of time to breathe in, and every action is a peaceful action if that's your